Welcome. Okay, so today we're going to do a history reading class. Well, mainly a reading class, but about history. And we're going to do this in two parts. I think the other one I've just looked is the 1st of October. So what we'll do in October is kind of reread what we read today to refresh our memories and then continue another part. So today we really want to talk about the text, what you see, what you know, the vocabulary. There's some numbers we can work on. There's a lot of things that we can take a look at today. So I'm just going to go ahead and share this screen. Let me make sure this is up correctly first. All right. This should be it. Yes, okay. Do you see this okay, or is that a little too small?
It's okay for me.
Okay. All right, good. So, vocabulary and reading about history. So this is Nelson the Trafalgar, which it's super difficult for me to say that word. I know it's something huge and like Trafalgar Square. Thomas would kill me if he knew I couldn't pronounce that word. Hero, okay? So Nelson is what we're going to be talking about, okay? So looking at this, why don't one of you, let's start with Rafa today. I'll have you read this part. Oops. Okay. The first three little kind of parts, and then Ken, I'll have you read the next part, okay? So, Rafa, whenever you're ready, okay?
Okay. Nelson the Trafalgar hero. My greatest happiness is to serve my gracious king, the country, and I'm envious only of glory. For if it to be a sin to covet glory, I am the most offending soul alive. Captain Horatio Nelson was a very successful naval captain in the 1800s. The three most famous battles he led as Admiral were the Nile, Copenhagen, and Trafalgar. In the Battle of Trafalgar, 1805, the British Royal Navy took on both French and Spanish fleets. Nelson's crushing defeat made history.
Okay. So we have some we have some information here. I don't know much about British history, so I don't know if you do. But I know when I was in London, there was a square, and I know it was something about, I don't know if it was the battle or not, but so yeah, he's pretty famous. And there's a statue of him in the square. And the square is huge, by the way. So after we've read this, I first want to see what you understand about what we read, and if this brings up any memories for you, if you know of anything about this guy or anything like that, okay? So, Rafa, do you want to start as you read? I mean, have you heard this story before? Do you know anything about it?
No, I've studied a little bit of history, but it's nothing related to this battle and this captain.
Yeah, that's my same problem. I mean, when I had to read about Spanish history, I was reading words in English that I'd never learned or said before or seen before because I didn't learn Spanish history like the Spanish do. So I completely understand where you're coming from. Like I said, I didn't learn English history either. So just kind of a new thing. And then, Ken, what about you? Do you know anything about this?
I know Trafalgar Square, but I don't know the story about it.
Okay. Have you been there?
No, I've never
Okay.
been.
Have you ever been to Europe, Ken?
No, I've
Okay.
never been there.
No, that's fine. I was just curious. So, all right, good. So you've never heard of this either. That's great. So now we're both, well, all three of us are going to learn some more information today. So I want to start with some of the words that are in here. So first, the quote says, "My greatest happiness is to serve my gracious king and country, and I'm envious only of glory. For it to be a sin to covet glory, and I am the most offending soul alive." So kind of like this old English kind of speech. It's not something that we would hear normally, right? What do you think about this English? Do you understand it, or is it like, whoa, what is this? No comments? Ken, would you like to comment? What do you think about just the quote alone in that type of speech? What do you think? Is that easy to understand?
My great happiness is to serve gracious king and country, and I am envious only of glory for it. Of glory. Yeah, maybe a lot of rhetoric to praise that.
Okay. Do you understand what it means? Is my next question.
Maybe it's for the militant purpose, every war has how can I say, every government, every regime, want to justify their war.
Okay.
So boost up nationalism or such things.
I like that. Yeah. So very happy, and nationalism, that's a really good word in this case. So, very happy to help the king and the country, as in those days the king was a lot more important than I think royal families are now. Even the royal family in Spain, they just get money. They don't actually work or do anything. So it's kind of not great because they have all this money, and then there's a lot of issues with people that don't have money here in Spain. So anyway, apart from that. So he's envious only of glory. So he envies glory. He wants glory. So he's, I don't know, jealous only of glory, of people being victorious and winning and succeeding, let's say. So it's a sin to covet glory. Do you have any idea what the word covet means? Rafa?
Wanted. Something really wanted. Something extremely desired.
Yes, desire is a great word. So it's a sin to desire glory, okay? Even though he's jealous of glory, you can't desire it, is what he's kind of saying. And then the most offending soul alive. So he's willing to do anything. Okay. Any other questions with the quote before we move on to the next part? No? Okay. Perfect. So the next part, again, is Captain Horatio Nelson was a very successful naval captain. What's naval? Do you know what this word means?
Navy.
And what's the Navy?
Navy is the military on the sea. On the sea.
Exactly. All right, so it's naval, but we also have this other word, naval, like this, N-A-V-E-L, not A-L. Do you know what that is? Do you know what your belly button is?
A veil. Veil. I think something around the belly or something.
Exactly.
Yeah. At the hole. Hole in the body.
Exactly. The hole in the body. Yes, that's where we first get our nutrients, when we're inside our mother's tummy before we're born. So that's your belly button. So we've talked about, is this homophones? I can never remember. But when they sound the same, but they're spelled different and they have different meanings. So these two words sound the same, naval and naval, okay? But they obviously mean two different things, okay? So then it says naval captain of the 1800s. So 1800s, So years, there's lots of years and other numbers here. So I just want to mention this is 1800s. And also for military time, we use kind of the same idea. If I say this, which I would say is 12 o'clock, let's see, 12 o'clock, we have a lot of different things we can say. O'clock, we have noon, midday, etc. Okay? In military time, we would say this is 1200 hours. I think. I'm pretty sure that's how it goes. So 1200 hours or 1300 hours would be the time that the class started in Spain, 1 o'clock. All right. Anything to add to this? Did you know this? I think we've spoken about this previously, but I think Ken probably was only in class. But doesn't it sound strange? No comments? Okay, that's fine. Rafa?
No, I think it's normal for me.
Okay. Well, here in Spain, they use military time a lot. The problem that really bothers me, they'll do this for like 6 o'clock, 6 p.m. Excuse me. And they'll say 6 o'clock. They won't say 1800 hours. They'll say 6 o'clock. But they'll write it with the 18. And I'm like, come on. So I don't like that. But Spain uses the military time a lot as far as writing. And so it's a little bit difficult for those that we didn't learn this from a child because we have to subtract 12. So there's some difficult times, like if it's 8 o'clock, it looks like 10 o'clock because it's a 20. I don't know why. You know, like they would write like this, 8 p.m. And I hate 9 o'clock. 9 is 21. That's 9 p.m. Anyway, so it's complicated. All you have to do is subtract 12. So just so you know, that's my little trick. So good. Any other questions with the military time or anything like that, or these years?
I think that's same as Spain. Using that time is common, but I've heard that in America it's only used in military.
Yep, exactly. I also think it's funny that they write midnight quite different. A moment. Midnight. Oops. So all of these, it's the same time, just written differently. It's quite complicated. I don't think it needs to be like this. But sometimes they'll have 24, you know, with the H, other times not, and then 0, 0, 0. And I think that's hilarious. It's like, it's not even a time. There's no time. So I think that's kind of funny. All right. Anyway, so if we continue on, so he's a naval captain of the 1800s. The 3 most famous battles, I'm pretty sure we know what the word battles means, but what do we think? Rafa, do you know what that word means?
The battle is a conflict. It is let me see, a fight between 2 armies, something like that.
Yep, exactly. Is it very similar in Portuguese? Because it's very similar in Spanish.
Yes.
Okay. Very good. Ken, is this similar to the word in Japanese or not?
Completely different.
Oh. Can you tell us what it is?
Battles may be sento.
Okay, yep, completely different, like you said. Thank you. Okay. Good. Rafa, what is it in Portuguese?
It means batalha.
Yeah, that's the same in batalla in Spanish as well. Perfect. Okay, so the three most famous battles he led. This is technically incorrect. When you were reading it, I noticed this. This A should not be there. It should be in the past. He led in the past as Admiral. What's an Admiral?
It is a rank in the Navy Force.
Good. And I don't really know the different levels, but he's a chief naval officer. So he's not just a regular guy in the Navy. Okay. And then we have the word were, and then we have a list of 3 different battles. Now I'm going to mention this semicolon, it's a point with a comma, should be 2 points. Okay, because we have a list. It's not, this part of the sentence is not a complete sentence. It does not have a verb or really any information. So again, this is incorrect, okay? I just wanted to mention that I know there was someone who made these. Thank you very much for that, but I am going to correct those. All right, so I'm going to read the last part here. So in the Battle of Trafalgar, 1805, when the years get like this, when it's 18 or 19, O, we have to say this O as if it were the letter O. All right, the British Royal Navy took on both French and Spanish fleets. So took on, what is to take on in this case?
Maybe win, to win.
I'm not going to necessarily agree with that. It's still a little different. Rafa, do you have any idea?
No, my thoughts are very similar. I don't know.
Okay. To take on just means to fight against someone. Now, it doesn't say who won, but it just means that the British Royal Navy fought against the French and Spanish. And what are fleets?
Fleet is a group of battleships.
Oh, did you look that up?
No, I know this.
How do you know that word? That is not, I don't even know that word in Spanish.
Fleetwood Mac, because of Fleetwood Mac.
Oh.
Got it.
Okay. All right, good. So it says, then it says Nelson's crushing defeat made history. What is this crushing defeat?
An overwhelming defeat.
Okay, so defeat basically means Nelson won. That's okay. What about crushing? What does crushing add?
It means that it was a total victory.
Thank you. Exactly, yeah. Nelson really beat them very badly, basically. Which for excuse me, for him is good. Okay. I think that's about it. Any other questions here, words that we need to talk about yet? I don't think so, but is everything clear until this point? All right. Yes, Rafa?
No, it's okay.
It's okay? Okay, good. Well, that's fine. So, Ken, why don't you go ahead and read the next paragraph here for us, okay?
There were 38 French and Spanish ships in addition to 400 troops, including riflemen, compared to just 32 British ships. Nelson's main force was made up of 8 three-decker battleships, carrying approximately 90 guns per vessel. Still, the other fleet carried a lot more guns and crew members.
Okay. So, very good. I think this is fine. Some good words in this one too. All right. So something that is important here, troops. The first word in bold, troops. What's that?
Group of soldiers.
Okay. I guess this is going to be easier than I expected today for you. That's fine. Including riflemen. What are riflemen? Rafa, do you know this one?
These are soldiers carrying rifles. These are just from infantry, I think.
Yep, exactly. Yep. Men who specified in rifles, I guess you could say. Okay. Compared to British ships. Okay, yes. Now the next part where it says Nelson's main force was made up of. What's made up of? Made up of.
Was comprised of.
Yes, comprised. Had 8. Okay, now this is a little bit complicated. 8 3-decker battleships. So we had 8 battleships and 3-decker are the adjectives here. What does 3-decker mean?
It has 3 decks. The battleship
And what are decks?
are levels in which, according with the structure, it has a and maybe you can call it floors. I don't know.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, there's 3 levels, I guess. Yeah, that would be the best way to describe it. Yeah. Good. I didn't think you were going to know that. In England, for example, they're famous for their double-decker buses. What are double-decker buses?
The bus has second level. Sorry.
Yeah, they have 2 levels. The bus isn't just 1 level, but it has 2. All right. Let me see. Okay, so 3 double-decker battleships carrying approximately 90 guns per vessel. What's a vessel?
Ship.
Exactly. Yeah, basically something that goes in the water, vessel. It could also be like, oh, what's a car? Well, it's a vehicle, or what's a vehicle? It's a car or a van or a truck, something like that. Okay. And it says, still, the other fleets carried a lot more guns and more crew members. So what's crew?
Is the staff?
Okay. Staff is normally the people that work there. Now, in the military, it's a little bit different because you volunteer normally. I don't know if they were forced to be in the military or not during that time. But I would say crew members, just the members of on the boat. The military, the guys that were working, the riflemen and other people in the troops. So yeah, I mean, but staff to me is more when people work, but that's the general ideas there. Okay. So any other questions in this part? You guys are making this look very easy today, and I thought this was going to be more difficult. So so that's fine. Rafa, do you want to read the next paragraph?
Okay. Even with this major advantage in numbers, Nelson's well-thought-out tactics worked. The British fleet were able to dominate the French and Spanish due to the way they lined up their ships. They were able to attack from both sides by creating separate columns. Hence why the imposing statue in Trafalgar Square today is called Nelson's Column.
All right, good. So a little bit more history about him and the statue. So that's good. So when this is even with this major advantage in numbers, what's a major advantage? I know we know what an advantage is, but what's a major advantage?
Numbers much more than others opponents.
Okay. Exactly. Yeah. A lot. A major advantage. The word major in this case is used as a quantifier. It's like a little advantage, a lot of, well, you wouldn't say a lot advantage. A lot more, something. Major is big. It's really, really big. Okay. And then this is Nelson's well thought out tactics. What is that? Thought out tactics. Ooh, tell me you don't know what this is. Thought out tactics. Well thought out tactics.
Well-planned tactics. Well-planned strategy.
Okay, I was going to say use a different word than tactics. Thank you. So well thought out basically is he planned this. Okay. And tactics is strategies, idea, his plan. There's a lot of different words that we could use to describe this, but that was really, really good. All right. Rafa, was that a new word for you? Tactics?
No, not tactics, but thought out. It's the first time I heard this word in this context.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, good. See, and this is why I want to expose you to these new phrases and structures, because it's really how we speak. It's pretty normal here. So anyway, that's good. So the British fleet were able to dominate the French and Spanish due to the way they lined up their ships. They were able to attack from both sides, creating separate columns. Hence, has anyone seen the word hence before?
Yes.
All right, well, let's talk about it. Do you use it, and what does it mean?
It is normally used to define a cause-consequence relationship. I think so. They were able to attack from both sides by creating separate columns. So it is normally to expose the reason why something happened, I think.
Maybe you are muting.
Yeah, I was mute, and so were you. I asked Ken if you had anything to add to that. I'm sorry.
Hence, I use hence in a kind of official document or academic writing, not usual, kind of sentence like letter. And meaning of hence is similar to because.
Exactly. It's just a little bit more formal. It's less common. I mean, sometimes I'll say it with my friends and stuff like that, but normally not. But I mean, I'm not really in a lot of formal situations. So for me.
People normally use therefore instead.
Exactly. Therefore, have you heard of the word thus?
Yes.
Okay, that's another one of those kind of hence and thus to me kind of go together, like they're on the same level of a little bit more formal, but at the same time, you can still use them in everyday conversation.
Yes.
Any questions about that? No? Okay. In that case, Ken, I want you to read this last sentence, but can you see it or not?
A bit. Okay.
No.
I closed the picture, so
is this okay?
Yeah, this is better. Despite his death in the same battle, Nelson remains a national hero and will stand forever proud on the top of his column.
Okay, so pretty simple here. So what's despite his death? What's despite? How is that used in this case?
It's I don't know the other English word. I know the meaning.
What does it mean?
Even though, but big different from even though.
Yeah, I would even say, for example, like, well, in spite of, even though all of these connectors in Spanish are coming to my mind. So even though he died, for example, in the same battle, okay. So yeah, that's fine. So even though is a good word. Nelson remains a national hero and will stand forever proud. It's kind of a strange. Well, I would have probably used this in a different order. I probably would have said, Nelson remains a national hero and will forever stand proud. Will stand forever proud. We can also say this. I don't know if this is because we're natives and we can change the order, but I would personally say it a different way. But anyway, what does this mean? He will stand forever proud.
Standing forever with pride. I mean.
Yeah, pride. But there's a physical aspect as well to this. Do you see the full sentence? Because I don't. When I look at the Hangout, I don't see it, but
Is that because of the statue?
yeah, it is because of the statue.
Okay. So it stands forever, definitely. Unless
Exactly.
someone else break the statue. So.
Ooh, I don't know if that would be a very good idea. But right, yes, he physically is represented. He's standing on the statue, okay, and so he's going to stand forever proud. We stand proud. It's also kind of a phrase that we use, or you can say I'm proud of something. To stand proud is also a phrase, okay. On top of his column. And this column represents, Nelson's columns. That is how they attacked from both sides, creating separate columns. So the statue is really representative about this battle, who he was and what he did. So kind of interesting, or what did you think?
Yeah, it was interesting, I think.
Okay. Well, hopefully we've learned some new phrases today. With that, I want to go to the next page, but let me just see. Okay, good. I can do this. So what do you think these words mean from the text? I know, and I just read that in my own version. I know we've already, I'm a little confused on why this only has one, but we've already talked about this, but I also want to talk about it because these are worded differently. Okay, so we can say yes or no. So naval is an aquatic ground. Now, ground, I don't like the word ground here. Ken, before you said it was just like a group from the military who worked basically on the sea and the water. That's correct. So the aquatic I like, but the ground I'm not really sure. That could be a British thing. So that I'm gonna skip over. Battle. Okay, it's to be in a discussion or a group at war. Now we spoke about this before, and we probably would decide that it's a group at war. But could it be also in a discussion? Can you battle a different way? No? Yes? No opinion? For example, they're going to battle it out. To battle can also mean fight it out, but also I would think verbally you could do that too. It could just be a fight. Have you ever heard of battle used in this context to be in a discussion, for example?
Not in a discussion.
No? Okay.
It depends on the context. Was there some specific context for using battle in this case?
Okay, yep. Well, it's kind of an informal battle it out, like I said. Battle it out is the phrase. Now, I know it just says battle here, but battle it out is an informal way of saying to compete or to fight, to discuss, to maybe even argue. So battle is kind of like fight, but it's used in a different context here. Okay. So Admiral, again, these are the words that are in bold. We talked about this. Is a member of a group or one in command? What do you think? I'll have you two answer this. Any idea? Or is it both?
It's more like the second one, but we don't use it usually here. We normally use commander or commander in chief, but not admiral, I think.
Okay. Commander in chief. It's potentially the same. An admiral is just a chief naval officer. So to me, it's the one in command. He's the one that's giving the orders. But he also is a member of a group if you think about it, because an admiral, there's more than one. You know, if there's different groups, departments, if you want, we could say that. And admirals are kind of a member of one group, but they're a member of one rank in the military. And so for me, both of these make sense. I do think the one in command, the one in charge, is the correct one, but both do make sense in this context. Do you have any opinions about that? Do you disagree with that at all?
Once admiral is a high rank, I believe we normally use it for the chief or for the most important person of the group or something like that. I think not. I don't want to say ordinary people, but the less ranked people in the group. We normally don't use this just to achieve or something like that. Someone who leads the group.
Right. So the one in command, but you're still using the word group there. So member of a group, I'm going to agree with, like I said before, but so they are a member of the group, but a higher rank. So I would agree with that. Ken, do you have any opinions about that, or do you think that's okay? Life is good.
Usually it's only used in the military, so the one in command is, I think, is proper. Member of a group, so it doesn't have a hierarchy.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of
hierarchy.
Yeah. Hierarchy mean adjective.
Hierarchy is a noun, right?
Okay. No adjective for that.
Hierarchical? I don't even know how to say it. Hold on. Hierarchical. It sounds terrible. Let me get this here in the US pronunciation. I have to turn up my volume.
Hierarchical.
Did you hear it?
Hierarchical.
There you go. Okay. I'm sorry. Yes, continue.
Yeah, so member of group, I don't think that's the meaning of Admiral.
Okay. Yeah. I would agree with that as well. Yeah, it's a different way to say that. And what about the last one? It says to take on. Again, we spoke about it, but do you remember? Because this one was new, kind of. Uh-oh. No one remembers? To take on, to finish or to start something?
To start something.
Okay. Rafa, do you agree or disagree?
Actually, I've never used this word in this context. I'm literally lost with this situation.
Okay. Well, that's okay. I mean, again, before I said it was basically to take on, is to fight. And so for me, it's not necessarily to finish, but it's to begin. It's to start the battle. Okay, to take on. We're going to take on a new role in the company, for example. Going to take on a new role in the company. Okay, so it's to start something new. So that is correct. So very good. Moving on. Oops. I don't know what I did. Stop. Okay, here we go. So again, we have some of the same words as before. Fleet, a group of guns, or a group of ships. Ken, you answered this before?
Yes.
Which one was it?
Group of ships. A group of ships.
Good. What about a crushing defeat? Rafa, I think you answered that one before, but which answer here is correct? To win by a long way or to only just win?
To win by a long way.
Good, yeah. They crushed the other people, which means they beat them very badly. They did great in their in their opinion. So good. What about troops? An army of men or people?
An army of men.
All right. And then we have riflemen, which men with swords or men with guns. Before we said it was basically guys with rifles. Rifles are guns. So men with guns. All right. And I have one little part here at, oops. One moment. This one. Okay. So Decker, we said before was portholes or floors. We agreed that they were floors. Vessel, these are pretty obvious now. Vessel, what is a vessel? Rafa, let's go with you.
It is a boat.
Good. Crew, Ken, individual or team?
Team.
Very good. And imposing is dominating or linear? Imposing. We didn't talk about that one.
I believe it's dominating.
Okay, Ken, what do you think? Because this one we didn't see before.
I don't remember this word in the article.
Well, let me go back to it. Let me see if we can. Imposing. Oh, okay. No, we didn't talk about that. Hence why the imposing statue in Trafalgar Square today is called Nelson's Column.
Okay, on this context, dominating.
Yep, I think dominating as well because it's just big. You know, it dominates the square. It's huge. It's massive. You see it. It's very noticeable. Okay. So good. And I just need to check something very quickly because we're gonna do part 2. Okay. Yep, I can go to the next one. I thought there was some questions here. Yep. So do you know any other facts about Nelson? I'm sure we don't. Do we? Any other facts about Nelson?
I know Nelson Mandela.
I'm sorry. What Nelson?
Nelson Mandela.
Okay, no, not the same. So thank you, but no, Ken. Do you know any? I'm sorry. Do you know about any famous battles? Absolutely not, because it had the Nile, the Copenhagen, and the Trafalgar one. I don't think so. How about any imposing buildings or statues? Well, we talked about obviously the statue about him. Why are they imposing? I just answered that. Why? I'll have you guys answer that, or Rafa. Why are they imposing? Let's refer to the statue, not that you see it either. So you're going into this blind, basically.
Okay, I don't know, to denote, to express respect, maybe, express their status, their leadership, to maybe everyone who stares at the statue will maybe try to recognize a little bit of how he or she was and how or she represented.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I think it's...
Yeah, that's fine. I know the only thing I do know is that in this same square in London, it's next to the National Gallery, which is one of the museums. So anyway, that's fine. And then have you taken on anything recently? So Ken, why don't you start with this one, and then Rafa, I'll have you think of a response to this as well. Have you taken on anything recently?
Which means to start something?
Yes, it does.
Maybe not. Maybe not.
Okay. You haven't. I suppose I have taken on. I've taken on more free time recently, which is nice. I've taken on some work at work, some activities at work. Yeah, I've done that. Rafa, what about you? Have you taken on or started anything recently?
I've taken on taking German classes.
Oh, you are?
Yes, I am. And it's becoming very difficult because there's several people claim that there is a strong relationship with English, but so far I haven't recognized that. But yes, it is something I have taken on recently.
Yeah, that's interesting. I've also heard that supposedly German is similar to English. I have yet to find any similarities as well. I think it's more in like the words, the structure of the words, but definitely not the structure of the language. And that would be a great conversation with Thomas. Maybe I should do that one day. Huh. Okay, anyway, great. Well, that is it for the slides for today, because the other ones, like I said, we're going to look at next time. And that's going to be October 1st. So we still have some time. So stop screen sharing. So we have some time to forget this information, then to remind ourselves of this information. That's why I put it so distant. And that's about it. So for today, we're finished. I do want to mention on Wednesday, we're going to be talking about verb patterns again. Basically, what I'm doing is upgrading, let's say. I'm upgrading the last presentation I had just so that we can see the same information, but a little bit more in depth, okay? So I'm doing this on purpose, not because I'm lazy. It's so that you can remember a little bit and, kind of refresh your memory, be like, hey, I remember that. She said this. It's kind of to connect those dots, okay? So we'll do that. I'll have some different examples for you. We'll be thinking of examples together. It's just one of those things that you have to practice and love, because it's just a part of grammar and I can't do anything else about that. So we'll be practicing that on Wednesday. And I think that's about it. Maybe I should, what am I doing next Monday then? So this is today. Oops, where am I? August. Verb Patterns is the 8th. Yep, that's Wednesday. And then Monday, oh yes, I forgot. Monday we're going to be doing part 2. I think that was, I don't even know when that was, back in October or something like that. It was, or in October, no. But about clothing, what kind of clothing you should wear for an interview. I know we looked at that. Let's refresh our memories about what we saw last time, and hopefully we can continue this time to look at more things. And And then next Wednesday, I told you this, I mentioned it earlier. Next Wednesday, I'm changing the class to Tuesday so I can have a full day off, okay? Because it's a national holiday here in Spain. So we'll have class Wednesday and then Monday, Tuesday, and then we'll be back to normal Monday and Wednesday. Okay? Any questions?
I see the site, internet site, and all classes time is same time at 10 p.m. in Japanese time. So maybe I keeping a regular schedule like 8 p.m. on Monday and 10 p.m. on Wednesday.
Yeah, instead of on Wednesday, I'm just changing the day. I'm not changing the time. I'm kind of just taking Wednesday's class and moving it to Tuesday.
Okay.
So yeah, it's the same time as a normal Wednesday class next Tuesday. Okay. So Monday's normal time as ever. Tuesday will be Wednesday's time. I'll remind you at the end of each class. Don't worry. But on the Untangled website, I told Thomas, he said it was fine, but I doubt that he changed it. So that could be an issue. But and I don't have access to change it anymore in there, I don't think. I did try to change it. I think I changed it in the Hangout, so that should be okay.
Okay.
All right. So I'll post things on Facebook as normal, or if you have questions, just let me know. Okay? Perfect. Thanks, guys, for coming. Thanks for watching, too, if you made it this far in the video. And have a great day, and we will hopefully see you in the next class, okay?
Okay, you too.
All right, thanks. Bye.
Bye.